Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order, can emerge.
Live from a basement in Greenwood, it's episode 4 of This Week in Conspiracy. My name is Justin.
And I'm Brad.
And like always, it's the straw that broke the Illuminati's back. Little shitty ass dirtball, Ashley. So how was your week, Ashley?
It wasn't bad.
No calls this week from us.
No, you had one.
One call. I had one call to Ashley this week.
450 texts. I had to put that moon silent thing on it because if not, my watch would have been like. Bzz, bzz,
Yeah.
bzz, bzz.
If you go to bed, you have to put silent mode on.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of silent mode, today, last night we were texting, so I turned my phone on silent mode. I go to Lowe's this morning to get stuff for the guys who go out for work, and I'm walking around grabbing stuff in the paint aisle. We go back, we pay, we get out, and the 2 trucks pull out, and I'm sitting there. I get in my truck, no phone. I'm like, "Where's my phone?" So obviously, it's like that new thing now. You panic immediately.
Well, I mean, when you put $1,200 in your pocket, if you left that lay around.
Well, it's not even that. I got all my pictures on there, contacts, like text messages for like business stuff.
Yeah, right.
So I'm freaking. So I run in. I go every spot where I was at. I check, see if my phone.
Well, hold on, everybody. First, I have to set the stage. He's 6'11", about 300 pounds.
300. That's generous.
So if he's running through Lowe's, picture Sasquatch in a dress shirt and khakis, and that's what you got.
Yeah, picture a giant peach Sasquatch with a smaller male member. So I'm looking. I go through every aisle, check everything. Nothing. So I go up and tell them, I'm like, "Listen, I lost my phone. So if you find it," they know me there. I'm like, right. "I lost my phone," like, words out or whatever. So I'm sitting in the party like, what do I do? I can't call no one. I'm like, I didn't even give the one dude an address that works for me. So I'm like, what do I do? So I'm like, "Oh, I got it. Find your phone on the iPhone." My daughter has an old phone of mine. Mm-hmm. So I drive home, get on there, boom, find my phone. Battery dies. So I plug it in, call my sister and say, text my guy and tell him where to go. So she does. I call my wife. I'm freaking out. She's like, "Quit yelling at me." She hangs up on me.
Because it's your fault.
Because I blame her. Because I'm freaking out. I call her up. I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out, So I find the phone. It gives me this address on her phone, but I can't take it out of the house because it don't have Wi-Fi. Luckily, she was off work. So she comes and picks me up. I follow it. And the whole time I'm like, quick conspiracy thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
yeah. Like the Illuminati, like the local Masonic Lodge stole it out of your pocket.
Bill Gates came over and stole your phone.
Him and his wife, they're like, "We're getting divorced. I have Justin's phone now."
Yeah, sweet.
So,
which she got $1.6 billion in stock.
It's an easy way to split stock. Yesterday. You can easily liquidate your stock if you're divorced, Ashley, and there's a reason.
Why are you talking?
I'm sorry.
No, but anyway, I digress. No, but so we're driving down the road. I'm like, I came out of the store. There was 2 trucks guys that put poles in. They have the big signs on the truck pull. I'm like, one of these son of a bitches probably grabbed my phone off the ground and they're not answering it. So I'm calling it.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're trying to steal it. First thought.
Yeah. Right.
Things like, because
not there hasn't been 1.6 billion iPhones sold.
Yeah. Well, that and
everybody has.
Who wants a 5-year iPhone that has scratches all over it and stuff? So we drive up to this cul-de-sac where the dot is. And guess what? There's a brand new pool put in. I'm like, these sons of bitches. So we pull in. No one's there working. I get out. I'm like, it's showing it over here. My wife's like, "There's a guy in the yard there." I'm like, "I'll go ask him." So I'm walking through the yard. Guess who it is? It's my chiropractor. I didn't even know he lived there. I was like, what's the odds?
Yeah, you should have been like, "Hey, I need an adjustment while I'm here."
He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Were you at Lowe's today?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Well, I lost my phone and my iPhone app. Find my iPhone, brought me right here." He's like, "I don't know. There's the guys cutting the grass." So we go over and I asked him if he was at Lowe's. No, we weren't at Lowe's. So I take my thing and hit the button and follow the dot.
Yes.
I'm down in the woods. I'm thinking, these bastards probably threw it down over there. So I'm down there, nothing. I'm like, what? So he's like, he tells us a story about how his dog had one of those collars on it and then he reset his thing or whatever. Yeah. So my wife's like, let's go get in the car. So I reset it. And I'm like, we're pulling out. I'm like, that guy from the lawn place looks pretty shifty, man. It's probably in his pocket.
Yeah, he's probably listening to your House of Pain album.
So I redo it. So it takes me across the other side of town now. I'm like, what's going on? This thing's all over. Like, I was like, what if a bird got it? It's flying all over town.
Government drone.
So I said, we'll try this last spot. If no one's even, like, I'm thinking it's going to be a work truck, so I'm parking down and by the contractor.
Right.
So we pull and no one's there. But guess what? It's by a house I did a job there like 2 years ago, and the woman works at Lowe's. I'm like, it's nothing.
She found it.
She found it. She stole it. She's sitting on it. No, I was like, forget it. She's like, why don't we go back to Lowe's and double check all your spots? And since I have her phone, I can do that ping thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm like going over with the wood. Ping, ping, nothing. And I go over to the thing, to the hammers and stuff. Ping, ping. So we're walking down the pay now. She's like, right there it is. I'm like, where? She's like, sitting on top. I must have just took it out of my pocket and sat on top of this stuff and picked something up.
Hey, you're going to need to get a lanyard like Papa.
So that's how my day started today.
That's a great day.
That's a good day. I was so jacked up after I found my phone. I was so happy the rest of the day.
Yeah. Well, it could be worse. I mean, you could have started your day pulling into a drive-in COVID and get a shot, your second one. And what happens to you?
Well, I don't know. You get a blood clot or die?
Or maybe you become paralyzed.
Paralyzed
from the neck down?
Yeah, no. You see, there was a woman that was in Tennessee who claimed after her second, I don't want to say if it was Pfizer or Moderna or whatever. It was her second shot. She claimed that she
didn't claim.
She claimed.
I saw the news report.
She lost mobility from her shoulders down.
Yeah.
And during the report I watched, there was someone from Pittsburgh too.
Yeah. So, now, she did say, though, she was regaining some movement in her toes.
Right. And, she was so,
But what really got me was when she was like, but I still think people need to run out there and stick that experimental vaccine in
I have the clip. Let's listen to the clip. Hold on.
Excellent work.
Excellent work. Ashley, this is your end.
Hey, that little volume with the cross through it, like the Ghostbusters symbol with the speaker, you got to unclick that.
No, it was hooked to Bluetooth.
Uh-huh.
So that's another whole thing. Ashley's not very good at this.
What? Thank God we don't pay her. Huh?
Okay. Yeah, not yet.
It's just like the worst nightmare I can ever imagine. Brandy Parker McFadden is confined to her hospital bed at Vanderbilt. Can you walk right now? No, I can't walk. Less than 24 hours after receiving her second Pfizer COVID shot, she explains she lost her ability to move from her shoulders down.
I thought maybe, if anything, I'd probably get like flu-like symptoms because I'd already had COVID. But I never in a million years thought I would never be able to get up and go to the bathroom or get up and walk to the other side of the room or stand up and hug my kids.
The usually active mother of three is speaking out, not with the intent of causing fear.
I'm not saying don't get your vaccine. I'm just saying that COVID is really real.
And still really new, she continues, including the vaccine.
Well, the poor woman, okay, not only had COVID, so she has COVID once. She goes and gets the vaccines, both of them, which I think it said Pfizer, so I don't have to speculate on that now. And she is so brainwashed that she survived COVID. No problem. Like, she probably was sick for a few days and survived it, which is, it stinks, whatever. Right, it's like having anything else. But then she gets the vaccines and becomes paralyzed, and she wants you to go get it. That's how brainwashed. I mean, I'm not saying she's stupid or nothing, but it's a sad, it's like Stockholm syndrome or something.
Yeah, well, I saw a video yesterday where the guy was in, I think, a Costco, and he didn't have a mask on, and they had 8 employees surrounding him, and he starts yelling, like they're escorting him out.
Yeah. And
he's like, aren't you afraid? Aren't you sick of this tyranny? And everybody starts yelling, no! They literally yell, no! Like, we're not afraid of the tyranny. Like, this is how it starts, man. Like, and the whole, like, get your shot if you want to get your shot.
Yeah.
But make sure you look up the facts. Like, it's an experimental drug with a emergency use authorization. They have total immunity. So that poor woman who may never be able to like hold her kids again, guess what? Pfizer, they don't care. They made $3.7 billion so far on those shots, and they don't care that you can't walk again.
No, we covered that 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and don't we talk like, so if someone gets shot, they want to take your guns. If we could save just one life. Yeah. But here's the thing. So far, half the country, at least half the country, has gotten the shot. Roughly half.
Right.
They said between 40-50%.
Right. Well, they wanted to make it 70% before you lose the mask after the 100-day mandate.
Well, just give me 100 days of wearing.
Just give me 100 days.
Yes. What he meant to say was give me 100 years.
Yeah.
Because you're never getting rid of your mask.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, quit moving the football on me. Like,
right.
What am I, Charlie Brown?
Yeah, we are Charlie Brown.
Yeah, but I lost track of where we were at. But
COVID.
No, but we were talking there. The 100-day. What the heck were you just saying? I forget.
I said about the tyranny. The guy, not like he said tyranny, but like they're going to push the India strain.
Right.
So like every day I turn the radio on, they're like, there was 300 deaths in New Delhi.
Mm.
Now, please, everybody, Google the population of New Delhi in India. It's like 1.4 billion people.
It's insane.
It is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sure 300 people get hit by shopping carts in New Delhi. They probably die from 300 people a day. Probably die from a air conditioner falling out of a building in New Delhi. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous when you start to look at statistics on
right.
things.
No, I watched I think a Netflix documentary about India and how they're just like jammed in. They ride the train. They ride on top. People get electrocuted all the time, hitting the lines.
Well, if you ever look at a picture of how they string like their electricity in between the buildings,
yes,
it literally looks like acrobat nets the whole way down. Like you could fall off the roof and probably catch yourself on the electrical lines as you fell down.
But I mean, not that I've never been to India, but I've just seen the dog. There's filth everywhere.
It's disgusting.
There's like you'd be like $1 million mansion standing right here. Then there's literally like a shanty next to it with a guy taking a shit right in the front of it.
I'm trying to figure out how it's taken so long to actually hit India.
Yeah. Well,
it was right around the time they stopped using ivermectin and hydrochloroquine and started giving vaccines away.
Well, that's it.
And then, boom, we get hit. And because like we listened to those doctors who said like we're way too early in this to start giving a vaccine because a virus's whole through its life cycle, its one goal is to stay alive. So viruses kill their host. So as they go, they usually get weaker so that they don't kill the host that they're in. Because they don't want to kill the host. If you kill the host,
there's no more in host.
It dies too.
Right. That's what I was listening to Dr. Drew. I wasn't listening to I heard a clip off Dr. Drew.
Yeah, you listen to Dr. Drew every day at 4 o'clock.
I love Dr. Drew. No, but I was listening to a show to play a clip off Dr. Drew.
You're mad because Oprah's off.
Yeah.
You get a vaccine, and you get a vaccine, and everybody gets vaccine.
Well, if you come to my house, my TV's on O Network. But like, he had a doctor on there I think it was even a virologist who said, this is the first virus in history that is going to get stronger as it survives. Or, and
because it's just like, because we've overused other medicines, it's going to adapt to beat this. The only way to adapt to beat this vaccine is to get stronger.
Right, that was her point. It's like, we're creating that was the doctor from that used to work for the Gates Foundation said the same thing. He said, we're going to do these vaccines. It's going to cause like the fact we have with antibiotics now, where there's all kinds of strains of bacterial antibiotic.
Yeah.
Resistant,
antibiotic resistant.
Yeah, antibiotic resistant.
Things coming out.
Yeah, bacteria.
What was that stuff you got in the hospital? Like
MRSA.
MRSA.
I'm not gonna say it. Never mind. Really? I'm gonna butcher it. Is what it is. It's
all you got to know. She's the MRSA queen.
I am.
Yeah.
I get it a lot.
That's gross.
That is gross.
Clean yourself.
It's not.
You need to get that stuff wrestlers wash themselves down with. You know what I'm talking about?
Baby powder.
No.
If you use asbestos-laced baby powder, I will kill MRSA.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will.
Just ask Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson.
They don't care.
No, it only cost them $3.2 million.
Well, these are also the people that wanted me to get a Gardasil shot that
kills women.
Which now I just saw.
If not kills them, it makes them infertile. And that's not even a conspiracy.
I know. It's funny. We call the show This Week in Conspiracy, but it's really just This Week in the News.
Right. And
it's not conspiracy.
Yeah,
just do your research and you will find out.
If you listen to anybody else, this is the fake news.
Yeah. I mean, if we just take what they're saying and repeat it, like, how are we fake? How are we conspiracy? Like, I'm literally just listening to podcasts all day, and they're pulling clips from mainstream media
and playing
it, and then I'll go look it up, and then I have a little notebook so I keep track of things, and it's the same stuff. I'm just telling you again, because maybe we can wake enough people up to finally take our rights back.
Right. I mean, it's not that anybody's stupid or we're smarter. Like, I'm not smart, but I have time to listen to things.
I'm more educated than Bill Gates, so
I know
I can tell everybody.
Well, you're a genius. Yeah. But I'm just saying that it's not even about, like, being smart. Who has time? You have 3 kids or 2 kids. Yeah. You go to take them to sports. You go to work for 40 hours a week plus. Feed them, clean your house. You just want to sit down and watch, I don't know, Friends for 10 minutes and go to sleep.
Golden Girls.
Well, yeah, that's what I
love. Golden Girls.
That was actually a really underrated, funny show.
Oh,
the writing on that's pretty good.
I still laugh. Like, I watch it every night.
They're brutal.
Oh, they crush
Rose.
They crush Rose all the time. I feel so bad.
Funny.
But Rose is sort of dumb or naive. Not dumb, but naive. Yeah. So she just, like, laughs it off. Like, if that was, like, 4 dudes, we'd punch each other out.
That's such a funny show.
And I always laugh because my grandma Wirtz watched that show.
Yeah.
And I was always like, I don't actually watch this. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, when you're 18, it's stupid. I'm telling you, it is underrated.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
It is underrated.
You can ask comedians, they'll tell you it's one of the best written shows of all time. But get back to the India. I have a question about the India strain. Mm-hmm. I want to know how many people that died from that strain got vaccinated. Like, they're not giving you the numbers like this many people got vaccinated. Because I bet you, I don't know. I'm just saying it might be the vaccine caused it. I don't know.
I was listening to, it may have been No Agenda, where they had played a clip from one of the early trials where they were giving the vaccine to a group, and then they had the placebo group. Well, guess what? The placebo group went out and got the vaccine.
Yeah, well,
so they don't even know. They have no placebo.
There's no control. There's no control.
No control group.
No, I heard that. That was on the agenda.
And the guy was just like, well, we'll chalk one up. You know, like, no, we don't know.
So in 2023, when they come out with the final final tallies of the safety trials, they're not going to have a control to tell you what the control is.
If people aren't, like, falling over dead by 2023, well, there's only 1 or 2 things are going to happen. Either there's going to be so many problems with this vaccine because it's new. mRNA vaccines are new. Moderna has never had an approved drug on the market. All they do is study a way to deliver something into your cells.
Right.
To change your cell to recognize a potential threat. And they spent years trying to, like, cancer is what they were really
they wanted to get a vaccine for cancer.
But, like, I tried to explain to my kid one time, I'm like, Smart, we don't know. Like, science is always developing. That's why we can't, like, when Fauci, who's never, ever, ever, ever treated a COVID patient, comes on TV and tells me something, I can't trust you, dude. You're not front line.
Right.
And, like, I think, like, what happens in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years when we're like, you know what? We've had a huge reduction in babies. Like, you would think, being locked up for an entire year, there would be a huge spike in births this year.
Yeah.
However, I just read, we're actually down again. We're down again. Mm-hmm. Now, part of that's because the government makes everybody in the family work. Like, you got to put your 15-year-old kid to work to afford anything anymore. But, like, what happens if they discover a spiked protein in semen or in the egg wall of a female?
Right.
Like, and they go, oh, hey, sorry, but we just made 70% of the public infertile because we shot them with this thing that creates spike proteins that we don't know how long the body holds.
Right.
They could hold them for a day. They could hold them for a year. They could hold them for 30 years. We don't know. Anytime that a spike-looking thing enters your body,
you don't know.
We don't know.
Well,
I just watched where they discovered a new, was it like a new fish in a lake the other day? So if we're still discovering fish in lakes, we have no idea what's inside of our bodies.
No, they don't even know at the bottom of the ocean. But like, that brings me to that. You sent me that clip of the 4 doctors. The what they call it, the part of the Misinfo Dozen. Or
oh yeah, the Misinfo Dozen.
But they're all 4 of them are medical doctors. They practice.
And the one worked for the military.
Military. Yeah. And they were talking about the same thing you're talking about, the fertilization or whatever. She said that they're having problems. They were getting some of their patients telling them that they weren't even vaccinated. And the women that were vaccinated in their offices or whatever,
close proximity,
were shedding. Shredder. But like they were shedding their uterine walls, heavy bleeding, and all this stuff, having problems with their menstrual cycles. But not only the people that were getting vaccinated were having those troubles, but the women who did not get vaccinated were also having similar problems. So for that, like what she basically was saying is like, they use the word a bioweapon, that it spreads, like it's shredding, shredding again. Shredder.
Once it's in your head, dude.
It's shedding like in your cells and your fluids and stuff to other people.
Right.
So what? Maybe instead of a vaccine passport, we should have a non-vaccine passport, so I know who's not vaccinated, so I don't have to hang out with them. Because who knows what's in their system or what's going on.
Right. Well, obviously we still don't know, like, what this is all going to turn out to be. But, like, I can't get over, like, how they don't talk about the adverse reactions. Like, they don't even mention it.
No.
Like, I've heard them on TV saying, this is 100% safe and effective. 100% safe and effective. Then I watched the health secretary from Texas. I watched him on, I don't know if he was addressing like the House or the State House, but he was saying like none of these quote experts have ever like we're seeing 1 or 2 guys on TV all the time. Fauci. Who was that late? Burks. Like they're coming out and telling you what to do. And he was like, they've never treated anybody. Like if you think of Fauci, he's been working for the federal government since like 1980.
Well, 81 for sure. That he was the whole AIDS.
Right. Come on, dude. We don't care about ESPN.
Oh, come on. I'm trying to find out what's the score of the game is.
But the cool thing is,
Penguins.
Hey, our local minor league baseball team, 2,600 fans the other day.
Good.
I
know
they told you to wear masks, but I heard it was not really enforced, which is America, baby.
That's awesome.
As I was there.
Oh,
insider information.
Ashley was there.
You're supposed to wear a mask, but to be fair, walking through, I at one point gave up. I got a thing of fries, had them in my hand, took my mask off like I was eating them, and just stood there. People walked past. No one said a word. Workers had masks on.
I thought you were like a statue.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stand still that much.
A red-haired abuse victim.
Jesus. I went back to my seat. I sat down. I sat there. We all just took our masks off. We were hanging out talking.
Who's y'all?
I watched a dude, huh?
Who's y'all? I didn't know you had friends.
Well, hold on a minute. Let me ask you.
4 of us. I had to get a pod. You had to buy a pod of tickets, like 4 seats. And I don't have that many friends, so I had to sell 2 of them.
That's what I figured.
Again,
to my friends.
Like, I'm going to repeat this. Did the players have masks on?
No.
I have to be honest. When I'm watching baseball, I'm not looking at the front. I'm looking at the back.
Oh, okay, this is getting weird.
So I can't remember.
But you sit in the stands looking at their like sides or their face
Right.
because that stadium doesn't. You can't really. Oh, unless you're.
I'm in
sitting
the
left field.
Chiefs seats, and I watch them
All right.
stretch out.
So here, let me tell you, they're not wearing masks.
No, they're not wearing masks.
So again, I've been saying since the beginning. Do you notice how the elites, rich, don't wear things?
Well, I wouldn't call the current players rich.
No,
I'm just
but
messing
they're
with you.
entertained.
Yes,
dude,
I know.
like
I'm
Rome.
joking.
See, when Rome was collapsing, one of the emperors said, "I think it would be a great idea to do bread in circuses because people were starving. You know, Rome was collapsing.
Yeah, you keep the
so they
people
built
happy.
these huge coliseums and stadiums, and they brought in these big strapping men and
Ooh.
tigers and lions and
Christians.
they fought Christians and Jews. Weird how we always get persecuted. But they brought them in and they would fight. But what people don't realize, they gave out bread in the stands so people could, for a few hours every week.
Pacify.
They pacify the masses. So during this whole thing, you know, and the NFL from the beginning said, we are not shutting down. We will play our season.
Right.
And then I laugh because there they are smashing into each other, spittle flying into each other's faces. You know, a big pile of dudes gouging each other's eyes and stuff.
a big scramble to get the ball.
Right.
To get the
But
scrum.
then they walk over to the sideline and they pull a face mask up. They have the general population fooled into thinking that a piece of cloth over your face prevents you. Listen, if those football players aren't getting it, you're not getting it.
Well, the thing is, the mask thing, it's a joke. You can show me a test or a trial or whatever a study it shows the masks work. I can show you 3 that say, like MIT said.
Well, here's the thing. Like our kid had a science project. And after the science project, I thought, how great would it have been
to do
a mask display?
yeah.
Where I hung different forms of masks, and my kid just took like a spritzer bottle and like held it right up against it and spritzed through it.
Yeah.
So like bandanas don't work, cloth masks don't work. Like now, will they catch a little bit of the spittle coming out? Yes, they will. But I think that I heard a doctor early on, and he was like, it's trying to like stop mosquitoes by putting a chain link fence.
Right.
Up.
Well, the mask was they use masks in surgery not to keep him breathe his breath out. It's to keep like him with your open body, like a booger falling out or like snot.
Right.
Or
a spit. If
or
he's
like
yelling at the nurse to get him something.
Yeah, give him something stat and he
but
spits
the other
out.
thing is if they accidentally miss and hit like something that squirts.
Well, they don't want blood in their mouth.
Yeah, they don't want blood
it's
in their mouth.
It's the same thing.
Right,
yeah, that's what the shields are made for too.
Yeah.
Like
So-
they're lancing a cyst. They don't sitting there with their mouth open like making their mouth. No, but I don't understand. It is what it is. It makes people feel like they're safe.
Yeah, I know.
And like most of the people that are,
I wear body armor to feel safe. They wear a mask.
Yeah.
Well, I went to buy a gift card today for a present for this weekend.
No, what'd you get me?
Where'd you go?
I'm
Where'd
not
you
gonna
get
say. I went to a
Is
beauty.
it for me? Oh, it's for me.
It's for Mother's Day.
Oh, when's that?
Sunday, bro.
It's Mother's Day this week.
It's Mother's Day.
Oh no.
Well, I guess it will be when we put this out. Mother's Day will have been
over
3 days ago. So if you're listening to this, too late.
Too late. Your mother's
So I
screwed.
was buying a Mother's Day gift for my mother-in-law from us, and
Oh, us too?
Let's put
I
that-
go.
I don't
Oh,
even
cool.
know.
Just
I
stop.
mean,
Just
we're
put,
close.
from this weekend conspiracy.
So I go to the door and
Wait a minute. I expect a thank you card from your mother.
handwritten.
My address is
Calligraphy.
my address is 339.
Blah, 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 blah. So I go up to the door, and there's like 942 handwritten signs about literally wearing a mask. And I knew this going in, like I knew that, but I don't wear a mask. So I open the door, and the lady comes like running out from the back, like waving me out the door because I don't have a mask on. I'm like, just write me up a $50 gift card and come out, and I'll hand you the money because I don't wear a mask.
Right.
She's like, well, I can give you one. I'm like, no, I'm a free-blooded American. Like,
you're a free breather, man.
Yeah, like mouth breather was the big thing last year. I'm literally a mouth breather.
Yeah.
Like I breathe air.
Yeah, me, you, and
oxygen. Like pretty much like the number one thing you need to survive.
Me, you, and Eli Manning are mouth breathers, dude. If you're watching play football.
Yeah. So, like, I can't get over.
Allegedly, Eli Manning. I don't want my Uncle Zane to get mad and think we're going to get sued.
Get sued. He might sue you now because you said his name.
Shit. Edit that out, Ashley.
Oh.
But don't worry about it. Like, they'll all be vaccinated. So we're good.
We're good, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if you want, I know you have $40,000 already in debt to this college, but if you want to continue here, I'm going to shoot you with this injection.
That's universities. Yeah.
Yeah.
Making people, that you were talking about that they said about the mask mandate 70 days or 70% of the country. Isn't that real close to the Deagle number? Isn't that weird?
Yeah, the Deagle number, which is now down. You can't find it anymore.
Yeah.
Actually, the Deagle number was like 90% of the population.
But it's really close.
Yeah. I mean, 70, 90, Yeah.
100 million.
Yeah, 100 million, 200 million, whatever.
Whatever. As long as hopefully I make that cut so I can be Bill Gates' slave.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, he comes in, well, whatever. But, so like I don't wear a mask anywhere. And like, you get the looks, but like, whatever, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, people are like, I'm sorry for cutting you off again,
Mm-hmm.
but they'll say, it's not, I know it's inconvenient. Like, it's not, I'm not doing, listen, I'm not lazy. It's not inconvenient for me.
No,
it's actually way more convenient for me to put the mask on and
Right.
feel all the stress of you staring at me and thinking like, do I even want to go in here? Like, that's it. I'm like, do I even want to go in here because I'm not going to wear it? It's just you're standing for something.
Well, I was at work the other day, and one of my coworkers was talking about how they have flown multiple times now. They've gone to like Florida, and they've gone to I think they went to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and they were like, yeah, you had to get the COVID test, and then they had to upload it to their system, and like then like they approved you, and I walked over. And I was like, hey, just out of curiosity, like, was it worth it? And they looked at me, and I'm like, so if I'm a business owner, let's say I own a business.
Okay.
And
I can picture that.
And let's say like I stand at the front door every day, and I say, show me proof that you don't have hepatitis.
Yeah.
Show me proof that you don't have AIDS. Show me proof that you never had an abortion.
Right.
Or you can't come in here. Dude, people would be freaking the F out about having to show proof. Like, my body, my rules. What happened to that?
Yeah.
Like we talked in episode 1, like, we are the new punk rock.
Yeah.
Like, we are anti-establishment. We are pew, pew, pew. Anti-government.
Well, I was doing the guitar.
Meow, meow, meow. No stairway. Denied.
Yeah,
but
no.
like, people are so like, just
Well, like you said, who would have ever thought that Christian males, Christian men would be punk rock? Like,
it doesn't even have to be Christian men. How about just free
thinkers? Yeah, just like just the regular guy.
Hey, I like to breathe.
People like freedom,
and I know sun is really good for me. And I'm not gonna wear a mask. You evil Satan. Well, like I said from the beginning, and I can remember when this all started and they started the mask thing. Well, first it all started, masks are worthless. Remember, Fauci
need to save that for our medical person.
Fauci said masks are worthless.
Yeah.
But when he come out, remember when they started to push it, what did they say? My mask protects you.
Yeah,
Your mask protects me. And I can remember looking at my wife and going, that is the greatest branding ever.
That is
because they're going to push it so that when you don't wear a mask outside, you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
You're the bad guy. And I remember hearing the Pennsylvania Secretary of Health saying one day.
That dude?
Yeah, the dude. saying, we will make it so uncomfortable for you to be in public without a mask on. That's our goal.
She said, I'll make it so uncomfortable. It'll feel like me putting on a dress.
Yeah. Yeah, this is totally something I don't even want to get into.
Oh, whatever.
But whatever.
No.
All right, so
She's big time.
So
now.
we definitely, yeah, she is. Yeah, I haven't heard from her.
No, after Ron Paul.
And here's the thing, dude. Like, if you want to be called a her or a him,
Whatever.
I don't care. I'll call you whatever. But just to know, like, if my kid ever gets a science question wrong, like, I'm going to argue the shit out of it. What do you mean? That's not the. That's a female.
They
frog.
push it in.
I'm gonna freaking argue with you.
Well, they push it in. They push it in your face, to the point where, like, before all this, I was like, whatever.
They want to change your social norm.
But
That's what it is. They want to break down society.
But me and you could have been talking 3 years ago. I'd be like, if they want to go wear a dress, or if you want to be you want to marry a guy, go marry a guy. I don't care. But they're pushing to the point where I'm going to be like, no, right. Because it's like you can't give an answer. They want to tell you that you're a nut job.
With the whole marriage thing, this is where people are dumb. You see, they started marriage licenses in the South to keep whites from marrying blacks,
right?
So you didn't interbreed, right? So instead of Americans being like, why is the government giving me a license?
Yeah.
So listen. If you're driving on the road without a license, you go to jail. So does that mean if you marry without a license, you're a criminal? Like, a license is a yes or no whether you can do something, right?
Right.
So I've said from the beginning, why do we even let our governments tell us whether or not we can get married?
Do anything?
No, we shouldn't. We should be like, no, marriage is a biblical thing.
Right.
Between God, you, your wife, or
whatever,
husband,
another person,
whatever, in the church, and your friends. That's why you have churches. Right. That's why you have friends there as witnesses.
Sure.
And you make that commitment between you two and God, not the county that you live in or the state that you live in. They don't need to know.
No, but
and I'm going to be honest with you. Doing my taxes, when I put my stuff in before I put my spouse's in. I'm thinking, maybe we should just get divorced on paper.
Yeah.
I'll claim one kid, you claim another, and we will bounce with so much freaking money.
Right. Well, other thing is, like, they always use that thing of, like, I wanted to go see my husband in the hospital, but I couldn't because we weren't married.
Yeah.
But you can do all that stuff legally. You don't need to do it, like...
Listen, I don't care. Look, that's what I said from the get-go. If they want to marry...
Let them do it.
Let them do it. They go to the magistrate...
Get married.
Yeah. Don't come to my church and tell me my church has to break biblical law to marry you.
Right.
That's all.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't care. It's cool. I don't give a crap.
Is this COVID?
Fist bump.
Is this still COVID?
No, but since I mentioned...
Right, we were off topic.
Hold on. Since I mentioned being married...
Yeah, go ahead.
And tax purposes, we may as well start talking about money.
Okay. Listen, I want to do one more... I want to play one thing before... It's a funny little thing I want to play.
You said, yeah.
But just before I want to do right after we go off COVID.
Okay.
But, like...
All right. We'll be getting into money.
Yeah, we can do that, because it's another serious topic. I want to get into this real quick. But,
Next up, money.
And in Austin, they had a vote there. I forget the name, the number of it, or whatever whatever the heck it was. But
was it get rid of the camps?
They wanted to get rid of the camps.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing was, they wanted to get rid of the camps because the homeless problem is now moving to Austin from LA.
Yeah.
With all the Hollywood stars and all the movement from LA to Austin, so is the homeless. They're moving down there in droves.
It's nice.
It's nice. It's like
nice.
LA. It's nice all the time,
year,
except for when there's a freeze and everybody has to lose their
for 16 years.
And Chuck Norris comes down there and just kicks
and
everybody.
Everything stops. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the mayor is real liberal, so he's like, "Hey, camp wherever you want, set up." There was a newscast where they interviewed a lady and her husband about it, and they're liberal. They're liberal people, and they were asking them questions like, "Are you going to vote for the prop or whatever it was called?" And she said, "I don't want to, but we're going to do it because."
Play the clip.
I'll play the clip because it's hilarious. But this is what happens when the progressive
movement.
The progressive movement and liberalism hits reality.
Yeah.
If you had seen
Jeez, Ashley.
this issue happening in another city and it wasn't happening in your neighborhood, you would feel differently. Once you're in the
middle of it, you change your mind of how you approach the situation. But as your safety declines, so does your compassion. Every time I have to pick up human shit, my liberalness just got lowered one more notch.
You hear what she said? She said every time she has to pick up human shit, her liberalness goes down a notch.
Yeah.
That is what happens when you hit reality.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is liberalism, although the people protesting and running around are usually like stupid, mindless kids who have been indoctrinated, when it starts to hit home, but like most of those rich liberals live in palaces and gated communities.
Yeah, they're away from all of it. They don't see it.
Right.
So like they spread their propaganda, and these people are like, it's so progressive, it's so loving, it's so liberal. Yeah. And then they have people shitting in front of their house where their kids play. Yeah. And now all of a sudden it's like we can't have this.
I saw one time out in San Francisco, I read an article that the article was like a light post fell over. Right. So you read the article, it was because so many people pissed on it.
It rusted.
The acid of the pee
ate it away.
Ate through the steel or aluminum, whatever it was,
yeah.
And it literally fell on top of a car.
Yeah. If you want to rust out steel, you just piss on it. If you piss on it every day, that thing will be gone in no time.
Yeah.
But
liberalism, baby.
Well, it's just that is what happens.
Movement.
Yeah, progressive moves to reality.
Yes.
I mean, it's like communism. It sounds great. If you would tell me without any knowledge of anything and explain communism, I'm like, this sounds awesome.
Yeah, everybody gets the same.
Yeah, it's great.
But here's the sad reality of these things. So, yes, everybody gets the same amount of dread, the same amount of freaking crushing oppression. But like, if you're a farmer, which is back-breaking work, or a roofer. Think about a roofer.
Any kind of physical labor.
Any kind of physical labor. When that guy was, hey, here I am in communist Russia, and I just got done putting the roofs on the local authoritarians' houses, and I'm walking down the street, and I might have a ruble or two in my pocket, so I'm going to swing in and buy a new toothbrush because I haven't had one in 16 years, and I see one on a shelf. That guy who's sitting behind the counter
makes the same 2 rubles.
Makes the same rubles that you do.
And you say, wait a minute, why am I making 2 rubles for digging ditches and running pipe for hundreds of miles? And this guy
sits around all day.
He's putting tomato cans on a shelf. I mean, I'm not saying it's any less of a job or nothing, but that guy digging the ditches and running sewer lines is way more important.
Right.
So, like, that's the problem. That's the problem with communism right there in a nutshell. Then they quit working.
I think it was Margaret Thatcher and then everybody starves to death.
Yeah, because the people that do all the work say, no.
I'm done. Yeah.
And then
they just work a lot.
Yeah, or then they we'll get rid of they kill them is what usually happens.
Then they kill them and then they try to take
they move all the educated out, then they can't do anything.
They don't know either.
It's like that movie Idiocracy where they're just like dumping soda on the ground.
Yeah, what's he say? He says, Brondo's got electrolytes.
He's
what's an electrolyte? It's what they put in Brondo.
Well, yeah, the guy goes back in time just put water on it.
Yeah, put water on it.
You're crazy.
Water? Look out the toilet.
Yeah, they all laugh. Yeah.
They laugh. He's the smartest dude. So.
That reminds me of Brad. That's usually what Brad is.
Yeah, the smartest dude. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to start talking about a word that I heard a lot this week. A lot. Like, I probably read it in 3 or 4 articles. And I probably heard it on the radio 2 or 3 times. It's called transitory. Have you ever heard that word before?
I've heard it, but
it's a word.
It's one of those words where you're driving and listening to the AM radio, and you're like, transitory. You crack a beer open.
Word of the day. Transitory. Yeah. And I'm not talking about Biden's pathetic speech in front of the Amtrak where he was like,
listen,
if we just built the tunnel down in Raleigh and Florida. Listen, man.
Look, I was gonna pull clips for that and send it to Ashley, but it was too much space. I couldn't send it.
It's so bad.
It was so. I actually feel bad. So I forget that I hate him, and I feel it's like elderly old man. It's like elderly abuse.
You don't want to feel bad.
But he's out there. He's like,
so transitory.
It
means something like short-lived. So it's short. It's not long-term. It's short-term.
Sure.
Right? So I heard this a lot this week in regards to inflation. Okay? So obviously, if you've bought gas or food or anything recently,
Ammo.
you're starting to notice that prices are sneaking up a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little. I mean,
about 9 or 10% a month.
yeah. So
Depends what field you're in.
yeah. I mean, cars, Ford had to halt production because they can't get a chip for their vehicle.
There's a whole bunch of chips down at Giant Eagle.
Yeah, but they
wrong chips.
No, there's not even a whole lot in that bag.
Oh, they shortened it up.
Because it's full of air. So
it all depends what brand or company you buy from.
Yeah. So Bank of America had their yearly or quarterly meeting, and Bank of America, quote, "Buckle up, inflation is here." All right. Now, they did say, which was very nice, that it's going to be transitory hyperinflation. Transitory hyperinflation. So that means short-term hyperinflation. So if you guys don't know what hyperinflation is, it's when there's nothing on the shelves and it costs about $1 gazillion, right? So like I have a Zimbabwean $1 trillion bill, a $1 trillion bill. It's worth about 14 American cents, right? I have one. I have it. It's in my safe. But like, so the talk of hyperinflation has increased this month in the banking and finance community at about 800%. So more and more of the banking finance community are starting to talk about inflation. So I saw one article. I'm not sure what the store was, but what they were doing was they had paper towels. Yeah. Instead of getting 160 in a roll, you got 140.
Yeah, you sent that to me. I put it on the Instagram.
Yeah. So
we never went through the Instagram yet. I did that.
I'm on a roll now. You can't.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So what they call that is shrinkflation. So normally, if you went and you bought, 16 ounces, what they do is they keep that product in a 16-ounce bottle, right, but only put 14 ounces in it. Oh, they'll change the ounces on it. The label. The label and the numbers.
They can't lie.
It looks the same.
Right.
So if you think about Bank of America saying, and the Federal Reserve is saying, that we're running a slightly higher than 2.5% inflation this year. But you got to realize, if we went back to 1980s, the 80s, how they calculated inflation in the 80s, we'd be running at about 11%, right? Yeah. But because the government changes numbers, sure, yeah, and they took food out and they took fuel out of how they calculate it, and then what they did was they spread it out. So yeah, maybe one product it went up 25%. But 10 other products only went up 1%, so they average it out. So you only have 4% inflation.
Yeah, right. Just to change the numbers up. They the little math games. Statistics you can change.
It's what the government loves to do.
Well, statistics you can change anything. I can prove to you that dogs cause cancer by just saying how many dog owners have cancer.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's 60% of cancer patients have dogs. So if you can just tell people that, people would believe it.
So recently, we have shrinkflation going on. We have inflation at the same time. So if you're shrinking something by 10%, but it's 14%, but inflation is 3%, that's 17% inflation.
Right.
Because they're taking away a product and they're giving less of a product. Plus the price is going up.
Right. So it's double.
So it's going up even more. So we have all these jobs that are open. They're higher paying, low end jobs, right? Is what I heard someone say.
Yeah.
So, the guy at McDonald's is getting paid $11 or $12 an hour.
Or 15 soon.
Yes, 15 soon is what they're pushing for. But what does that do? That allows that guy who didn't have the extra $20 in his pocket last week. Now he does.
Right.
So now he comes to the store and he can buy an extra $20 worth of stuff, which drives the price up because they're not making more stuff.
Right.
They're making the same amount.
What it does is it doesn't raise anybody. Like, here's the misconception of everything. If you understand it, anything, it doesn't raise you up. It's pulling people down.
Right.
So that's what it does. Like, the people are like, yeah, we're going to get $15 an hour. Soon we're going to be just like so-and-so down the street who has a bigger house than I do. No. So down the street has a bigger house is either going to lose that house because now he's down with you.
Right.
Because you'll never move. That's the ugly.
Everything will go up in
Yes.
price around you.
And you'll just stay the same.
And you'll stay the same.
And that's the dirty little secret they won't tell you.
Right.
And they're never going to change. Next year's another voting season.
Right.
So COVID's going to stay. The money problems are going to stay.
$15 an hour.
It's going to stay. Everything.
You know, the 1% needs to pay their fair share, even though they pay 40% of all taxes.
Right. Like, I don't just listen to right wing. I listen to like Jimmy Dore, and he pushes for this.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks it's great, which it is great in theory.
Yeah.
They don't understand economics enough, I don't think, to understand that you will never be pulled up. You have to work your way up.
Right.
They're pulling you down
to get up.
Yes, they're pulling you down. They're pulling people down to this level,
right?
The lower level. It doesn't help anybody.
So, like, my big question for the week, I thought, was like, when are we gonna realize, like, there's no going back? We're not going back.
No,
this is it. So when you walk through your grocery store, and you see like, oh, hey, last week there was 20 packages of ground meat. Now there's only 5. Huh, that's weird. So, like, if you walk through the grocery store, like I walked through yesterday, the local grocery store, and they have, like, all the, like, chicken nuggets and stuff. There was literally empty spots.
Yeah.
Where there was never empty spots.
They just spread them out a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, for patio furniture, go to Walmart and try to buy patio furniture this year. They have 1 or 2 options, not the normal 6 to 8 options they used to have.
2.
1 or 2.
One's really expensive.
Well, not at Walmart. Walmart.
I thought you were talking about
$700. No. Now, if you go to the higher end stores, crack it open 3. If you go to the higher end stores, they don't have lower end options or even mid options. They have $2,500 patio furniture.
Look, I was at not Lowe's, but Sam's Club the other day. They just had one for $2,000.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they had. That's
to
it.
Sit out in the rain.
Yeah.
And get ruined in 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
Because that's what. Let's face it. Patio furniture, 2 to 5 years.
Put this
garbage.
Not only is it $2,000, please do not sit on it so we don't have to clean it for COVID.
Yeah. So we don't know. If
you can't even test if you like it for $2,000.
So home goods, patio furniture, chlorine for the swimming pool. I read an article where they were like, there's going to be a huge shortage, so go get your chlorine, because if not, it's going to be so expensive that you probably won't even run your swimming pool.
My uncle just told me he was at Walmart and somewhere else. They didn't have any.
None. It's gone.
Gone. And he said, go get it. And I said, well.
The local pool place right down the road, I talked to a guy yesterday. He said he bought the last 2 bags of, like, the shake-in shock, and there were no tablets. None. So meat, like things at the grocery store, home goods, furniture, like I saw a truck. I saw a big rig drive that passed me on the highway today. It had like 4 pallets of like 16-foot 2x4s, and I was like, look at that dude showing off his wealth, man.
Well, what's gonna happen next time you see it? It's gonna be like Fast and Furious. The cars going underneath it.
Yeah, it'll be like Mad Max. Dudes will be taking it over.
Vin Diesel will be hanging out the car window with a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, give me your lumber.
So, Bank of America saying transitory hyperinflation, which means in the next few months, we're going to have hyperinflation.
Well, hyperinflation reminds me of someone in Germany.
Zimbabwe.
Remember Germany back in
World
War
War
I, Weimar Republic, where guys were pushing wheelbarrows down the street
to buy a loaf of bread.
Then they were just using it as wallpaper.
Yeah,
literally. I'd see pictures of like dudes painting it, sticking it on
their wall.
Yeah. Putting paint and glue on it.
I heard. Oh man, who was I listening to? Maybe tinfoil hat, tinfoil.
Yeah,
They were saying the one guy said, no, it wasn't. It was silver doctors.
That's totally different.
Yeah, it is totally different. Silver doctors. And he was saying, like, because he has family in Mexico or something, like, they just come out with a new, like, scheme for their currency.
Currency.
And he was like, you know what I've realized? The fancier and more colorful it gets,
The less it's worth.
less it's worth.
Yeah.
So they're literally handing you junk artwork.
Right.
You know.
Well, remember our old dollar? Is that or dollar like even our 20s? That little small head. It was just a picture of the president with the little stuff. And then they blew it up. And
Yeah,
it was like
there was strips in it.
Pink in the background and blue. It's real pretty now. Now it's worth a quarter of what it used to be 20 years ago.
You know, with all with Biden and he's talking about so we know inflation's coming and it's gonna be bad.
It's coming.
Well, I know inflation's here.
It's here.
Nothing's coming anymore. It's here.
Well, I wouldn't say that much.
Housing market crash is coming.
So we're seeing it every day when you go out and buy goods. But Biden's talking about raising the corporate tax rate, raising taxing the 5 of the biggest corporations paid $0 in taxes this year.
Well, that's what I was listening to No Agenda, and he was talking about that. And he said it was like they're raising the corporate tax a percent. Like he was going to raise the corporate percent. He's like, if you make this much corporate money to this much, and he's going to raise, it ain't going to affect those people anyway. They're going to pay the exact same amount.
And here's
it just sounds bad. He's like,
right.
That sound good for you guys to make 15% on your taxes.
Here's the funny little secret.
And he's talking to people who don't even pay that much.
When
they get money back.
When Joe Biden talks about you'll pay less tax, they'll pay more taxes than their secretary. The secretary. He's talking about Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
Right? And Warren Buffett, what he did was he took a very, very, very small salary from his business.
He went and bought McDonald's.
No, and then he put everything else into stocks and bonds. Well, you don't pay your taxes and stocks and stuff until after you cash them in.
The gains.
So when Warren Buffett was like, oh, yeah, I paid less last year than my secretary. Yes, because you took a smaller salary and put everything into stocks and bonds and waited till you were 75 to start taking it where the tax rate is less.
Well, didn't you see that documentary, Warren Buffett? He goes and buys McDonald's.
Yeah.
He has like $1.50. He's like,
every day.
I did good today. I'm going to buy myself a $1 double cheeseburger.
So with all these tax rate pushes, Janet Yellen is pushing for she talked to the World Economic Forum the other day. She's pushing for a worldwide minimum business tax, right? So all the countries in the world in the G9 summit or the G21, whatever one they were at, they'll set a set corporate tax rate. So what's that mean? That means when Biden says, "Hey, Amazon, you're going to pay 30% in taxes." And then Amazon goes, well, I'm just going to move my corporate headquarters over to Ireland where they pay 7%. That won't happen because all these countries are going to agree to steal labor's money. Yeah.
No,
I mean, we got inflation. We got inflation.
It's like, where are we going to go with this?
We can't go anywhere. Hide your money.
Yeah, well, that's it. They
hide your money.
Well, it's that little tricky game they play, too. It's like, here's a picture frame. You hold it dead center on the wall. You move it the whole way to the right side of the wall. You pull it back halfway.
The Overton window.
The Overton window. And then you're like, well, that don't look bad.
But they didn't move it clear back to the center. They moved it slightly to the left or to the right.
Right, and then they just keep on doing that.
They move it ever so slightly. Well, guess what? We're all the way to the end of the house.
There ain't nowhere else to go. No, if it goes anymore, it's over.
This is it.
Yeah, there ain't nowhere else.
We're done.
So yeah, that wraps it up. That's basically in a nutshell. What's
in a nutshell? Get ready.
That's me. This is me in a nutshell.
Buckle up.
That's just me miming, putting my hands against a nutshell.
Against my nutshell.
Wait, Brad, I don't have my hands over there.
So buckle up, boys and girls, because we're at the peak of the mountain.
Yeah.
And we're about ready to fall off the cliff.
If you have any extra money, buy assets. Anything you can buy that is not cash. If you have extra cash laying around, buy something that's tangible. Gold, silver,
guns, ammo, food,
property.
Anything you can get at this point.
Like even if you, I mean, I know that me and you differ on Bitcoin. Even like Bitcoin or Dogecoin, any of that stuff that is tradable because inflation is going to go so high it ain't worth nothing.
Yeah.
What do they say? What your money loses 5% a year? Correct? Is that what they usually say?
Well, they're saying over the next 3 years, 45%, I think, or something. Like 15% every year for the next 3 years.
Yeah, so
think about that. You have $10,000 in the bank.
Take it
in
out.
3 years, that's only going to buy 55% of the stuff that you can buy right now.
And you make 0.5% in the bank.
Right.
Why even keep your money in there?
0.02%.
Yeah, well, if I'm generous.
All right. So listen.
Okay.
Get ready.
Brad's getting mad.
Because they're investigating direct energy weapons
used
at the White House.
Yeah, I forgot that.
So if you remember a couple years ago,
years
ago
Cuba?
in Cuba.
Cuba, yeah.
Our
Wait, I hear it now.
pew 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 pew.
It's all that's tinnitus. That's
So
tinnitus.
they're investigating the use of direct energy weapons, and what's that do? It was making people sick and throw up.
Yeah, ringing in their ears.
Yeah, ringing in their ears.
So-
So that's coming to a neighborhood near you.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was the Russians.
Well, that's what they said. They said it's probably the Russians. They're trying to push that narrative.
Yeah, we're going to war with Russia, folks.
Well, I've heard stories already about people being at like rallies or anything, and they are getting these trucks pull up and they feel like they're sick. You know what I mean? So Brad starts me off in a conversation I have nothing about and leaves. But here, I'll go into something right here while he's gone. He had to go do something. So the other day, well, first off, the new news, other than what he was talking about the energy weapons, is Bill Gates is getting divorced. Did you hear that?
You're
Ashley?
in luck. You got to get a divorce now and get her.
Oh, well, she's worth. Well, he said that they $1.3 billion, $5 billion in stocks.
Yeah, well, that's the easiest way to liquefy stocks without getting in trouble.
Right.
You get a divorce. Oh, I gotta, give it to my ex and stuff. So then people aren't looking at you when the shit's hitting the fan.
Shit's hitting the fan. We're talking about Bill Gates getting divorced because you left me on something I had nothing to say about anymore.
Pew, pew, pew.
But did you see that he's getting divorced?
Yeah, poor Bill.
Oh, poor guy.
God, I hope she doesn't get any of his sweater vests.
On Instagram, I put a picture of him and Epstein together. I said, "Look, a couple of single guys out."
Yeah,
in town.
I saw it.
Remember he said he didn't know him. He didn't know him. There's like pictures of him.
Yeah, I mean, they just released that picture recently where he was at the White House, him and the woman in prison.
Oh yeah,
Maxwell.
Yeah.
Maxwell.
Well,
Gazelle.
there's a couple.
Giselle.
Cute little Gates conspiracy. Since I hate Gates, and every time I hear his voice, I get super excited.
Yeah,
I can't stand to look at him.
You get excited?
Yeah, because I just want to punch him so far.
I know, punch his face in.
But here's the new Q, the big Q conspiracy about Gates.
Ooh.
He thinks they think Melinda's an actress. Is Bill's going to jail for his crimes with vaccine.
Crimes against humanity.
Crimes against humanity. It's always crimes against humanity with Q. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say like I wasn't into Q for a little bit. I was. I thought it was like, please, God, this be true. It'd be great.
Because we thought, like, at least if it was true, this was it.
We had a
Like,
chance.
We're done.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, like, now it's still going.
Mm-hmm.
I just heard that the other day. And another theory is that
Maybe Q's using the direct energy weapon to make Joe Biden dumber.
But the other conspiracy on Bill Gates is that he was hanging out with Epstein, okay, and his wife found out about, like, it all came out with all that stuff, and she got upset because he was hanging out with these Swedish models and stuff with him, and that's why that would be the.
She made out $1.9 billion in stocks today.
Yeah, no, I can't.
So, good for her.
But he is.
I'd cash that shit in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bounce out.
Well, so either it's going to be a cruel summer for Bill Gates, or his wife, or he's going to have one of the greatest summers of all time. He's worth what, $96 billion.
Yeah, whatever. Dude, give her $45 billion of it and walk away.
That's what they said. They're like, if he gives up the percentage of money, he drops down to number 17 richest man in the world.
Right. Which means nothing affects him.
No, nothing. Right. Zero. It's, they're both whatever. They're running the store. Will have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So whatever they're doing,
I'm sure they'll run. Yeah, they'll smash Gardasil into little African kids and stuff and be happy with it.
Yeah. Well, I think we're running out a little bit of steam.
Yeah, maybe.
So hey, we have to plug.
Oh,
which I looked right in your eyes. I said, listen, before we even start, I'm going to plug a little bit. You're like, okay, cool. And then I just skip right over it. And,
Well, I mean,
I get
You
over
got into
excited.
that opening
you were
so
so
much.
like into your phone lost story.
I was
that-
like, oh, good. Yeah, this is a great story. It wasn't that good. But
The 10-minute story of how you lost your phone.
I didn't know.
And you ended up
We
at your
found it.
chiropractor.
It was a
house.
hero's
was.
tale. But hey, if you listen, email us any questions or anything you want us to talk about. That'd be great. You know, the 10 people that listen at Ashley. This is your
thisweekinconspiracy@gmail.com.
okay. And I have a Instagram that I put stuff on. We put up articles that we see. Like Brad will send me articles he reads. I'll put articles I read. I'll make some memes or see some funny stuff and put up. It's This Week in Conspiracy on Instagram, and we have a Twitter. I don't remember.
_conspiracy.
And then we have a Facebook.
Search This Week in Conspiracy on Facebook.
So that's our get a hold of us. I mean, hey, if you send us an email, we'll read it. I'll have Ashley read it because I can't read.
Yeah.
So, anything you want to add?
No, that's it, man. Good job.
No, that was a decent week. I mean, it is what it is.
Hey, you know one thing about reading the news, conspiracy news all week, is it never goes away.
No, well, yeah.
It
There's
never
always
goes
something
away.
new.
Yeah, it's always something new.
And we call it conspiracy. Like this, when we do the news half,
It's
it's
just
news. It's
Yeah.
news. And what's the scary part is we've been called kook jobs our whole life, so we just consider us nut jobs.
Yeah, right, whatever.
You know, and well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, have a good week.
Have a good week.
Remember, buy gold and silver.
And whatever else you want.
And support your local businesses, man.
Yes.
Stay away from the corporate places. Peace.
Don't wear your mask.
Yeah, if you can. Don't. I understand if you work, you have to wear it. God bless.